You might think you're being thoughtful or careful, but what if perfectionism is actually the reason you haven't started? If you're tired of feeling stuck in life and doubting yourself and want simple steps to stop overthinking, gain clarity, and start living your dream, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Sarah Tyke, a midlife mom, chronic overthinker, and your dream activator. I learned the secret of how to overcome self-doubt and stop overthinking. Take small, practical steps to create the life you dream of. If you're ready to see the possibilities, transform your mindset, and take the first step forward, grab a pen and a journal and meet me in the Dream Lab. Hi, and welcome to Reinventing Life After 40. I'm your host, Sarah Tyke, and I have a few announcements. We have a Facebook group to join. It is called Goal Setting for Overthinkers. And if you go to the Facebook group URL, it's actually groups/Reinventing Life After 40. But the name of the group is Goal Setting for Overthinkers. So if you go to Facebook group, you can just search that and it'll come up. And I can't wait to see you guys there. I think it'll be fun. There'll be like some weekly prompts to kind of encourage you, to get you to maybe take a few steps. There'll be, goal setting tips, all of the things, and we'll just all kind of talk to each other and help each other. And I can't wait to see you over there. That is Goal Setting for Overthinkers in Facebook groups. Or you can do facebook.com/groups/Reinventing Life After 40. I've also got a weekly newsletter coming out that will have kind of just the same things we talk about in the podcast. You'll get links to the weekly podcast episodes right there. They'll just be the usual kind of like some encouragement, maybe some motivation, inspiration, goal setting tips. If we have any freebies, you guys will get access to that as a subscriber. Eventually I plan on having, courses or books or other resources that you guys will get early access to or discounts if you are a newsletter subscriber. And if there's anything that you want to see, like if you would like to see a checklist, a journal, a guide, something like that that would help you, let me know. You can go in the group and post it there. You can email me at hello@sarahtyke.com. But I'm really looking for your guys' input for what I should be doing because I'm really looking to help you guys. So tell me what you want. And you can sign up for the weekly newsletter at sarahtyke.com/newsletter. I'm going to have a link on the homepage of the website as well that will take you to it. It's the landing page for the sign up, so it's a little bit different URL than the /newsletter. But there'll be a link there. You can go to sarahtyke.com/newsletter. And I'll have a link in the show notes episodes, or the show notes for the episodes. So you can find the sign up for the newsletter in a couple different places. If you can't, you can always email me and I will send it to you. So those are the announcements for now. Please, if you are so inclined, go join the Facebook group and sign up for the newsletter. I would love to be able to talk to you guys and help you out in that way. So today we are talking about perfectionism. That is a word that I have heard pretty much my entire life. My mom has been telling me, since I can remember, that I was a perfectionist and that basically it was going to destroy me if I didn't rein it in. So perfectionism can show up as not starting something and or overthinking it because you're kind of always perpetually thinking about it. I think we've talked about this, or I've mentioned it in a previous episode. You're always thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it. I'm praying about it because you're trying to get things laid out perfectly. In your mind, you're like, well, I just have to have everything perfect. I have to have all the details. I have to have that perfect roadmap. I have to know the outcome. I have to know every twist and turn. I just need to think about it some more. And in your mind, you're thinking that that's good because I'm planning. And that's what we should be. We should be planning. We should be careful. And it turns into procrastination, and you never actually get anything done. You think you're being perfect, and I mean, you are a perfectionist, you want everything perfect, but what that ends up turning into is never getting anything done. It can also show up as frustration and anger when things don't go exactly as you planned. So you may have your perfect plan if you ever get that far. So you start it, and then something happens that isn't in your perfect plan, and then you get really frustrated, you get angry, you throw it all away, you give up. That's also perfectionism because things did not go perfectly. And so now you've just thrown away everything that you've done. Both of which, obviously, are no good and will keep you stuck where you are. For me, it's basically both. In school, I had grades were kind of my obsession. I had to have straight A's, and I'm talking about like high school. And my mom would tell me the grades weren't everything because she would see how kind of obsessed I got about it. At our school, we would get grades every 6 weeks as kind of a progress report, and then we'd get our semester grades and our final grades. And those were the two, or maybe just the final grade, that was used to calculate the GPA. But every 6 weeks, we kind of had that progress report grade, and I had to, every single one of those had to be an A, or I would be devastated. And my mom would always tell me, like, the grades just aren't everything. I mean, think about how many grades you're going to have in your life, and if you have one that's a B or a C, it just isn't going to matter. She understood the importance of, studying and doing well and all this, but she was just concerned that I was going to these extremes. And I was, because I got so down on myself if I did not get that A. It had to be an A. A B, B plus, I was just like, oh, I didn't like it. One time I got a C as my 6 weeks grade, and I mean, I about lost it. So to me, my thinking was that the grades are important because these 6 weeks grades lead to the final grade. And I need to get a good final grade so I can have a good GPA so I can get into college, so I can get the degree I need to get the job I want, to have the life I want. So at like 14 years old, I mean, this is how my mind is working. Like I have to do this one perfect step, and it cascaded into the rest of my life. What I did in this 6 weeks period, what grade I got, in my mind was determining what kind of life I had 20 years down the road. And that's insane. But that was that perfectionism in my head at work. So my mom didn't really bother arguing with me all the time because I think she knew that I was also stubborn and wasn't going to change my mind. So I've got overthinking, perfectionism, and stubbornness all in one package. So, and it also turns out that my mom was right. The grades didn't really matter. They did lead to a scholarship. So because I had those good grades, I did get a scholarship. But, in the grand scheme of things, I didn't go to the college that I had originally planned because my major was not what I originally planned. I did not do as well in college as I had planned. I didn't go to the grad school that I had planned. I did get the degree. Didn't go as far as the PhD, but I got the master's degree. Didn't get the jobs that I had planned. So really nothing has gone according to plan ever. But it's gone, I think, according more to God's plan than mine, which is more important. So we see kind of that vivid example there of perfectionism. And do you think that these lessons I can look back and say, oh yeah, that was perfectionism, that was overthinking, that was stubbornness? You think I learned my lesson about it? About this perfectionist mindset? Nah. I'm not sure I ever will. I think it might just be woven into my soul. Like I am just a perfectionist, and that's how it is, and that's fine. You can be a perfectionist, but realize it and realize when it is hindering you from making progress and keeping you stuck and keeping you from moving into your dream life. So now I kind of realize, and I've come to accept the fact that I don't need all the details or a perfect plan or a perfect map. I don't need to know the outcome before I start something. Now, sometimes that could work to my detriment because I am working on a landscaping project, and I just recently got a stone edging in around this dirt patch that I've been battling for about 5 years now. The weeds are just out of control, and there's a trumpet vine that is threatening to take over the entire house. And so I've got this one little patch that I've sort of cleared it out. I've got it pretty good. I still see it sprouting up. But I put the edging around it because we had like these 2 rotting logs that were acting as the border between that dirt patch and the rest of the yard. So I finally got this stone edging in. And it's like, great, that is an awesome first step. Like, that is a big deal to me that I completed it. But I don't really have a plan right now for the rest of that dirt patch. And as I finished my stone edging, I kind of realized that that is going to be a hindrance because on one side of those stones now, I don't have anything. It's just the rest of the trench that I've dug for them. Normally you would backfill it with dirt, put whatever ground cover you're going to do. I don't have that plan for that ground cover yet. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to put gravel there, but I don't have enough. So if I don't do something with it soon, I'm going to end up dealing with erosion when it starts raining and I've got this like open space between the ground and my edging stones. So I'm going to have to decide, do I want to just backfill it with dirt right now until I come up with a plan and then dig it all up again when I decide what to do? Or should I just try to dig it all up? It's not a huge patch of dirt, but I'm digging all of this by hand. And for me, it's not easy, but I can just dig up the whole thing now with the plan that I'm going to gravel it, but then I have to buy all the gravel and you have to get like the bigger chunks of rock to go underneath and then you put like pea gravel on top. And I don't have any of that. I've got a couple bags of each just so I could try out like a small area to see if I even like it. So I'll probably do that, but even then, I'm going to run into a situation where I've got this small patch of like test gravel, and then there's going to be dirt on the other side that I'm eventually going to have to dig up and disturb what I've just done. So here I am overthinking all of this right here in real time in front of you guys. But this is a situation where I didn't have a plan. I just kind of did one part of this plan, and it might come back to kind of bite me. But I had to get the edging in. I just had to do it. Those logs were driving me nuts. And it looks pretty good. It's not perfect by any means, but it is done. And I'm actually pretty proud of it. And we'll just have to take care of the dirt patch kind of as we go. So maybe not the best plan, but it will get done. And I'm working on it. So there you go. There is a real-time example of me overthinking and just saying, it's going to have to be good enough. It's not going to be perfect, but it will get done. And also, I still do get very frustrated when things don't go perfectly and very angry. That's something I'm really actively working on because I can see how it affects other people when something doesn't go right and then I start throwing a tantrum like my toddler. So always a work in progress, and it's okay, guys, to be a work in progress. You can be a perfectionist. You can be a work in progress. It's all good. So one of my favorite Bible verses that I always try to remember, if I can break away from my perfectionism for a few minutes, is Matthew 6, verses 33 through 34. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about its own things. Sufficient for the day is its own trouble. So you don't have to worry about what's going to happen down the road, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen at the end of your plan, or what your outcome's going to be. You have enough to worry about just today. So just focus on today. God knows what you need. Seek him first. Seek his plan, his will, and he will provide for you. He will give you all the things that you need. He knows what you need. Because the previous verses of Matthew 6 are Jesus talking about how God takes care of the birds, and he clothes the field with lilies that are more beautiful than even Solomon in all of his glory. So of course God is going to take care of you because you are more precious to God than birds and flowers or fields. So you don't need to worry about what comes tomorrow or next week or next year. You just need to seek first God, seek his will, and he will take care of you. He will provide for you. And you just worry about today. It's kind of the staying in the moment thing. You just work on today, and the rest will fall in place. And throughout the New Testament, we actually see how the Pharisees are rebuked by Jesus for adhering so strictly to the law in this sort of perfectionist manner. Everything has to be done just right for them. They have to have everything by the book, by the letter of the law. And Jesus rebukes them for that and often calls them hypocrites. There's one instance where the disciples were not washing their hands before eating, and the Pharisees were asking Jesus about, like, well, they're not following the law. They're not washing before they eat. And Jesus tells them, it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes out of it. So yeah, of course you should wash your hands before you eat, but if you don't, it's not like it's a sin. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's really what comes out of your mouth that you need to worry about, is what Jesus is telling them. And in Mark 2:23 through 28, the disciples are gathering grain from the field to eat, and it's a Sabbath day. And again, the Pharisees are like, the disciples are doing work on a Sabbath. They're breaking the law. And Jesus tells them the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So yeah, you want to adhere to the rules of keeping the Sabbath holy, but that's really a law that's meant to help man rest and rejuvenate and honor God. If you start getting to be too perfectionist about it, you start serving the law, which is not what was intended. And then in Mark 3, Jesus heals a man in the synagogue on the Sabbath. And of course, the Pharisees try to catch him doing it so they can accuse him of breaking the law. But Jesus understands that it's more important to heal someone and to do God's will, even if it's on a Sabbath, rather than perfectly adhering to the letter of the law. So don't be a perfectionist to the point where it is, destroying your life and your relationships with people. So we're not meant to adhere to earthly rules and desires and things with this perfectionist mindset, because you'll never be perfect. You'll never have any of the things perfectly laid out. And that's fine. We're not meant to be perfect. We're meant to trust God. And in Psalms 18:32, one of my favorite ones again to keep in mind, it is God who arms me with strength and makes my way perfect. So if you're following God and doing His will, your way is perfect. That is the perfect plan. It just has to be His plan. So, point 1. Perfectionism sometimes looks like preparation. It feels productive and responsible, and you get to tell yourself that you're doing something because you're thinking about it or you're praying about it. And you get to tell yourself that I'm being careful, I'm going to have a plan. But the problem is that you spend too much time trying to get the perfection, trying to refine things. So if you're saying things like, I'm thinking about it, I need to do some more research, I'll get to it, I just need to something, I need to do fill in the blank first. When you start saying things like that, now you're refining, now you're starting to procrastinate. Even though you think you're preparing. You can't keep preparing forever. You can't spend a year, 5 years, 10 years preparing. You can spend a couple weeks, even a couple months, set a date. And if you're going to say, okay, well, in 2 months, this is my start date for whatever it is. Fine, take that as your preparation window. Don't let that turn into years. Ideally, you'll take a couple weeks for preparation for whatever it is you're doing, at least to take that first step. I'm not talking about 2 weeks to have an entire book written or to have your entire health and fitness turned around. Those do take time, but you can start within a couple weeks. So in those moments when you start to kind of notice that you're trying to refine instead of starting, just tell yourself to stop, take a breath, and think about the one thing you need to do now. Not the next 2 things or 5 things or 10 things, not the outcome, but what is literally the next or the first step. And see how small you can make. What's the smallest thing I can do? Is it writing 1 sentence for this book or that I want to write? Is it going for a 5-minute walk if I want to lose weight? Maybe just marching in place for 1 minute. That's exercise. Maybe you hold a plank position if you're trying to do push-ups. You can't do push-ups. Get on your knees and hold plank position. That's exercise. That's working. Do it for 1 second. Then try for 2 seconds. What is the smallest thing that you can do right now? And then you have to do it. But if it's such a small, easy step, you should have no problem actually doing it. Point 2. Perfectionism is often fear in disguise. We often fear failure, and we fear judgment from usually family and friends. So you may think you have the perfect plan and all the details figured out, so that if you get what I mean here, if you have your perfect plan and all your details, then your mind is thinking, well, then people won't judge me or laugh at me, or I won't fail because I have the perfect plan. So I need to have that perfect plan to make sure that I don't fail. Or again, that people aren't going to judge me for just kind of going off on this half-cocked harebrained scheme. I can show them that I have everything planned. And people are still going to laugh at you and judge you. If they're going to anyways, they're going to no matter what, if they're of that mindset. And again, plans, as I kind of mentioned before with my plan, I had it all planned out how I was going to do school and college and life at 14. Surprise, surprise, it didn't work out that way, but it wasn't really a fail. It was just a change. It was a course correction. And that's kind of the other reframe that you're going to have to do is, what's failure really? I mean, if you change your mind about something, that's not really a failure. So you have to keep thinking and preparing and planning until everything is perfect. That's what's going on in your mind. I don't want to fail. I don't want people to judge me. So I'm just going to keep planning and waiting until everything's perfect, and it'll just never happen. And again, realize that you might fail anyway, and people might still judge you. But who cares? Honestly, if you have kind of God's permission for this, if you're doing His will, if you're seeking Him first. I mean, in the Bible, Jesus says that people will mock you and judge you in His name. If you're going to do something according to His will, people are going to laugh at you for that. So you're going to have to decide what's more important, doing God's will or attaining approval of people here. And I know it's scary, especially when, if your family and friends are going to laugh at you, judge you, cut ties with you over something that you're doing. I know that's tough. So it's going to be a tough decision sometimes, but truly, if this is the life that you want, it is your life. I once so I was valedictorian in high school, and my speech was probably the shortest one they've ever had. I did not want to do it. I just kind of thought it was pointless. So I took that time, my 2.5 minute speech. I think we were supposed to write a 5-minute speech, and I was like, I'm not going to get up there and talk for 5 minutes. It's Florida. It's June. It's hot. We're sitting outside because we had a 400 class graduating class, or 400 person graduating class. And so mine was like a 2.5 minute speech. And what I had told kids was that right now you're graduating high school. You are now an adult. You are now in charge of your own life. You need to make your own decision about what to do with it. Whether you're going to college, whether you're not, whether it's trade school, just make sure that it is your choice. You earned the right because you're sitting here. You did the work to graduate. It's your life now. Make sure it's your decision what happens next. So I tell you guys the same thing now. If people are going to laugh at you, if you know that you've got people in your life who are going to judge you for this and who might cut ties with you, well, I mean, that is sad, and I'm sorry. But if you truly want to pursue this thing, and it is truly your will, your life to do it, and you know that you've got God's backing for it, you're just going to have to do it. You're just going to have to make those tough decisions. So you can remember Psalm 27:1. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? And this one I like especially because it addresses whom shall I fear. So really, if you're following God, if you're looking to the Lord for your light, your salvation, to lead you on the path, who can you fear? Who should you be afraid of if you're following God? And like I said, I know it's hard if it's family and friends that are going to be the ones to leave you. But those are just some of the decisions that we have to make. So hopefully you're not in that dire of a situation or that extreme of a situation. If you're maybe just fearing the failure, or maybe somebody just kind of, scoffing at your decision, your project or whatever it is you're working on. So if the fear is the problem, try to name your fear directly. I would recommend writing it down. I find that when I write something down, it doesn't seem as intimidating or as important anymore. It's kind of like now, once I write it in paper, the fear is contained to that sentence or two, rather than kind of roaming around in my mind where it has this infinite expanse to grow and become bigger than it really is. So I like to write it down. It doesn't seem so bad at that point. And if you have a friend or family member that you can trust with your desire, with whatever it is you're working on, find the one person that you can talk to. For me, it's my brother. No matter what scheme or plan I'm hatching, he's always there to listen to me, and he'll be supportive. I'm not sure if that's necessarily good or bad. I assume that he'll be honest with me enough if it's something really off the wall that he'll tell me. But when I was in high school and I had pretty much planned my whole life on going into biological sciences somehow, whether it was a veterinarian or a marine biologist, a geneticist, there's going to be something to do in the life sciences. And then in my last, I don't know, maybe a month or so of high school, I switched to astronomy. And all my friends and family were just like, what? Like, that is so out of left field. Like, what are you doing? And I don't know if my parents were a little bit disappointed, but my brother, he didn't even question it. He was just like, oh, that's so cool. Here, you can have this book that I had saved from when I took a college course in astronomy. So he had saved his Intro to Astronomy book, and he was the one person that didn't just have this baffled look of confusion on their face when I told him. He was just like, oh, that's cool. Here you go. Good luck, He didn't even think twice about it. And so that's always been, he's been my support. He's always been the one that I've looked to, for support and approval. So there are also support groups online. Likely there are people who have your similar interests that are out there doing the thing. You can find groups of them so that they can help you because they probably went through the same thing. And sometimes it's actually easier to talk to a stranger, I think, than your family members, because if a stranger or somebody in an online group or forum, if they don't like your idea, then, you don't have any real attachment to them. There's nothing really to lose because you don't even know them. So whatever, if you can find somebody to confide in or talk to, if you have, a pastor, a church group, somebody who understands a little bit more, perhaps, then that might be a safe place to go. And often when you talk about your fears, the fear kind of diminishes. Because when you see that putting your fear to words, it kind of, like I said, it kind of makes it real, almost like brings it down to reality rather than in your mind where it's this huge, big thing. When you discuss it, when you write it down, it's kind of like, well, it's really not that bad. It's just a sentence or two of a fear that when you look at it, it's kind of like, it's not that big a deal. And then you'll also see when you start doing the thing, whatever it is you're going to do, you'll see that the world doesn't actually come to a grinding halt. And it turns out that the entire whole of humanity is not actually judging you. Then things don't seem so bad, and then you can move on. But kind of confront that fear directly. Don't let it just kind of fester in your mind. Confront it, get it out of the way. And again, kind of refer back to Matthew 6 that we talked about earlier. Seek first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added to you. So he'll take care of you if you seek God first. Point 3. Imperfect action creates progress. So you learn by doing, not by thinking. The only way you're really going to move forward is to just do it. And yeah, you're not going to get it right the first time. You're not going to have it perfect. You likely will fail. And again, it's not really a fail. If you want to look at it as a failure, who cares? It's a fail. Okay, fine. I failed. I'm going to start again. I'm going to try a different direction. No big deal. Or you can just look at it as a learning experience. I learned something. Now I'm going to take that knowledge and do something different. But you actually have to do it. You have to take the action. So you're going to have to start before you feel ready. And you can just course correct as you go. There's nothing saying that once you start a path that you have to continue it. If you start writing a book, so I started writing because I thought I would love to be a writer. It sounds really cool. I'm not a writer. I'm no good at it. I've written a few things. I think I've only finished like one. Otherwise, I got a bunch of half-finished things. Um, I'm just not a writer. So, but I had my website was designed for it, and I had a page for it, and I had all my little samples of writing and all this. Put a lot of work into that, but then it turns out that that's just not me. Um, so I'm not doing that anymore. And yeah, maybe a waste of time, maybe a failure. I don't know, but I had to do it to learn that I'm just not a writer. It's just not me. But I had to try it first to find that out, and then I course corrected and tried something else. So it's kind of like if you're at a dock with a boat. So I grew up on the water, so boats and water themes are my thing. But a boat will never get to its destination if you never actually launch it. It can just sit at the dock forever. It won't do any good. You need to get into the boat and go for the boat to actually be useful. And along the way, you'll probably need to adjust your course because there's going to be things that come up. There's going to be another boat over here. There's going to be, a sandbar here. Whatever it is, you're going to have to adjust your course. But you kind of expect that when you go on a boat trip, especially if you're going to go sailing, because there's a lot of weird things that can happen when you go sailing. Things happen, you expect that something's going to happen, and you're going to have to change some things along the way. And if you've ever been sailing, then you also know that shifts in the wind will throw you off completely. And then you really have to work at getting the boat to go where you want it to if the wind shifts. I mean, there's a bunch of different course corrections that you have to do. And if a storm comes up and kind of it's hard to do, you maybe have to anchor somewhere and weather out the storm. Things happen. But you do it anyway because you're not just going to sit on the shore or on the dock your whole life with a boat just sitting there tied up. You're like, man, I really wish I could get in that boat and go somewhere. Well, then do it. You got to get in the boat and you got to at least start and then course correct as you go. So your homework for today, I know this is getting to be a long episode. I'm sorry. The homework for this week is going to be to choose one thing that you've been quote unquote preparing for, that you've been thinking about. I just need more time. I just need to think about it. I just need to pray for it. I'm just preparing. Choose that one thing and then take whatever messy, imperfect first step that you need to take and do it at least this week, preferably today, preferably now. Don't wait. I don't care how messy it is. I don't care what the outcome of taking that first step is. Just do the one step and make it small. So something like, post something on your social media to advertise or to promote whatever it is you're working on. Or if you just want to post a funny meme to somebody, I don't know if you want to reach out to somebody and you're trying to figure out how can I get to them, maybe send them a funny meme or a text or something. I still struggle with posting promos for my social media. I don't like doing it. I really don't like doing it. But I do it anyways because if I want to get out there to put my services out there to help people, they need to know that I'm here. And the only way they're going to know I'm here is if I advertise. And it's hard and I don't like doing it. But I'm learning and I'm doing it anyways. And I'm sure some of my posts are just, I don't know. I'll probably look back on it and be like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? But right now, at least to my face, no one's laughing at me. And maybe they are behind the scenes like, oh my gosh, can you believe what she's doing? It's crazy. But they're not telling me that. So, it's all good. I'm still doing it. I'm still working on it. I'm doing things that make me uncomfortable. So the first thing, you can write something down. Again, if you want to write a book, you want to write poems, write something, anything. When I was trying to be a writer, one of the techniques was that you just write something. It doesn't have to be working on your story. Just get in the habit of writing for 5 minutes a day. If you want to go even smaller, write 1 sentence a day. About anything. Write about what your day was. Today I did blank. And then the next day maybe you'll want to add some more details. And then some more. Before you know it, you're at least in the habit of taking the time to write something. And then maybe you start applying that time to working on a project. Or work on something that you've already started and maybe put on the back burner or you put aside. Say, I'll get to it later. We'll get to it now. Finish that project, because then when you see something finished, then that will give you the motivation to then try the next thing, because you'll be like, hey, look, I did finish something. I can do it. I finally finished a little, kind of a rock garden out on the side of my garage. One year I kept saying that, I need to get out there, I need to weed it, and I need to do all these things. And then I finally did it. I got some plants and I planted to kind of fill in some gaps. got the new mulch, got some gravel. I made it look, it was beautiful. And it was actually creative. I kept saying that I can't landscape. I don't know what to do. I'm not creative enough. But then when I finished the project, I looked at it and I was like, that was actually pretty good. And it was nice to have the finished thing. So that's another just small step that you can do, is finish something. And while you're going through all of this, something that you can think about, your reflection question for the week, is where am I trying to get it right instead of just getting started? So where do you find yourself like, well, I would do that, but I can't for whatever reason. And then really try to figure out, why are you trying to get it so right? Why don't you just start? And then try to figure out, what can you do to start that thing? And I'm pretty sure, I would hate to say that I guarantee it, but I'm almost guaranteeing it, that there's something small that you can do. You just need to break it down into smaller and smaller pieces until you have one step that you can do. And it may seem insignificant, but once you do it, you'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Now I'm on my way. Okay. Recap. Point 1. Perfectionism feels productive, but it keeps you stuck. 2. It's often rooted in fear. 3. Action breaks the cycle. That's it for this week. I know it ran a little bit long, but if you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, follow it. Please leave comments and reviews. I would love to know what you guys are thinking about the podcast. If you have any suggestions, you can follow or join the Facebook group, post in there. You can email me. And if you've been stuck in this perfectionist mindset, if you know someone else who is, please share the podcast with a friend who might also need a reminder that you need to kind of break out of this perfectionist cycle. It's perfectionism that's keeping you stuck. Again, join the Facebook group. I'd love to see you guys over there. Sign up for the weekly newsletter at sarah.com/newsletter. And all these links will be posted in the show notes. And I look forward to speaking with you guys later again next week. Until then, please take that first step. Please don't be stuck as a perfectionist. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi, friend. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may want to get inspired to start living their dream? Also, please leave a review wherever you're listening. It lights me up to know that this podcast is helping you. Take a step forward today. It doesn't have to be big, but it does have to be done. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Bye.